Hey everyone, welcome to today's show. This is show number two from Financial Reboot Trading Desk, satellite trading desk in Kalihi, Hawaii. So again, today we're doing it from the satellite trading desk. It's very comfortable. It's not pouring rain today. It's a nice sunny day. Looks like a beautiful Hawaiian day. Let's get right into it though, because there's a lot to talk about today. We talked about yesterday how really watching futures and stuff, and yesterday was such a just a watching paint dry day. And we talked about why. The reason was we had those two big earning reports this morning. We had Caterpillar and we had 3M, which are very heavily owned Dow's components. And so, you know, we said really no sense looking at too much, making too much of anything until we saw those earnings reports, and it turned out to be true. You can see both of them hit, and look at your Dow. Your Dow was up 167 points today, almost three quarters of a percent. The S&P 500 ended up about 4 points, maybe about a little bit under 0.2%. The Nasdaq had a nice day. Remember how much it was struggling yesterday? It's up 11 points. Um, and the Russell 2K, which is your small cap stocks, kind of did its own thing too, up 325. And the VIX was down about 2 cents, and it kind of spent the day in the red, and it was even deeper red. At the end of the day, we had a little bit of buying, a little bit of selling coming in. Probably a lot of people just taking some bets off the table and stuff. So, let's talk about this market. Caterpillar and 3M hit, so that blew up the Dow. You can see we're almost at that 23.5 point, which means that we'll probably be taking a run at that 2400 unless something really ugly happens. Um, let's take a look at gold. Gold, we talked about yesterday how we were watching that inflection point at 1275, and we're actually long gold right now on some $122 calls. GLD, I think, finished the day at about 121.18, something like that. So we're still close to the money. But we're watching that 1275 point, and if you take a look, and today it did what it did yesterday, not as dramatically, but it did the same thing pretty much today as it did yesterday. It came down, it touched that 1275, and it just bounced right back up. You can see it actually went to 1275.20 at one point early in the day. So, and then it recovered from that. It's found some real good support at that 1275, and it's just waiting for a catalyst. With all this stuff happening in the world, you've got the Venezuela default, which they just, like we said yesterday, they just found out they owe 600 million more than they thought. That could be a catalyst for gold. You also have the Catalonia independence. You have what's going on with North Korea. North Korea now supposedly has chemical weapons on bombs. Trump's got the B-52s going overhead. And then there were some skirmishes in the White House too today. I believe it was Coker was going at it with Trump on Twitter, and then Jeff Flake, I think, decided he's not going to run again. Yeah, Jeff Flake from Arizona decided he's not going to run again because he doesn't like Trump so much. So, that shows a lot. Again, remember we talked about Roger Goodell and the lack of leadership yesterday. Here's another prime example. The going gets tough, the weak get going, right? Out the door. So if you believe in it so much, why don't you fight for it, right? I mean, Trump's only got it at the most, unless he gets reelected, he's only got 3 more years. So why wouldn't you stay there and defend what you find so important? Obviously, it's not that important. Or maybe he's afraid of Trump. Who can blame him, right? Trump's a rough guy. He's not. Trump won't walk away from a fight. So there's some interesting articles. Chipotle just had their earnings and they just missed. That makes sense. This morning, McDonald's had earnings and they missed by a penny. So food service is not doing too well. Maybe if you're looking at maybe finding some kind of earning plays in that, now that you've seen a little bit of a preview through Chipotle and McDonald's, which are two of your biggest food service things, you maybe look at Yum Brands or something like that. If you're looking for a short or something, maybe you think it'll be different from them. Somebody had to do good in the food service, right? Somebody's eating something. Anyways, so people really are. Yesterday they were on the fence, and today it looks like everybody came off the fence. And one of the articles that talks about that is Bank of America put out a statement today that they're saying that the market is acting like risk no longer exists. This is how a raging bull market is. I mean, this is just how it is. I mean, There's a lot of people that'll tell you that no risk in the no risk. People when people feel like there's no risk in the market, that's the most dangerous time to be buying stocks. But and over the last 7.5 years, has that been proven wrong? How many times? Absolutely. So let's see. Let's see. And maybe there's a sell-off in the wave. That's why when people ask us, "What are you guys doing? What happens if there's a Black Monday? What if we wake up and the market's down 1,000 points?" Well, we've got some hedges in. We've hedged the VIX and things like that. And like we said, we talked about yesterday other stocks that you can use to hedge the VIX. The TVIX, UVXY, SXVY, I think it is, which is a ProShares Ultra Short. You guys just take a look at those. If you're looking for a hedge, you can, and always you can post questions. We did not get any questions overnight because we had a little uh, coming out party, so we posted the YouTube a little late. So we'll just do a little commentary today. But hey, let's have some fun. Let's get back into the market though, because there were some really interesting things happening today. So you can see the dollar did well. It was up against the yen. Uh, Euro was down a little bit, but not much. I mean, 0.0015. I mean, so the dollar's looking okay. It kind of came down a little bit towards the middle of the day, towards the end of the day, and that's probably because of what's happening with the Fed. People are kind of wondering what's happening with the Fed. You can see gold. We just talked about gold. Gold finished the day at 1278. Right now, it's just kind of fluctuating. Really, it just needs a catalyst. If it holds at 1275 and it gets a catalyst, it'll easily take out 1300, and it'll probably take another shot at 1325. We'll see what happens. Oil went up a little bit. We talked about oil yesterday. $50 is the break point for most companies on their profitability and their earnings expectations. So as long as it stays over $50, most of your oil related stocks should do fairly well on their earnings. How they do on the market is a whole different story. That's a supply and demand and a buyer appeal situation. So let's move down a little bit more. The foreign markets. Last night, Japan did real nice. China had a good day. The foreign markets doing pretty well. Last night, overnight, Europe had a good day. Or I'm sorry, today Europe had a good day. So, and then this is what we finished with in the market. We're up 167 points on the Dow, 4 points on the S&P, and 11 on the Nasdaq. That's a nice turnaround for the Nasdaq. Let's go take a look at some of the stuff that's happening right now. AT&T just missed. Uh, uh, Green lights. Einhorn says Tesla is putting dangerous products on the road. This could be an interesting battle. Einhorn's a pretty influential figure, and there's a lot of mystery around Tesla, and a lot of people don't talk about this. But one of the big things about Tesla is it really, really, what do we really know internally about the company and stuff. So, the cars tend to get good ratings and things like that, but those we all know those ratings can be bought and paid for. So maybe Einhorn knows something. Over the last few months, I've seen a lot of articles about going short on Tesla. We've actually looked at going short on Tesla. So, if you're looking for ideas, there might be an idea in there. And of course, you got the anti-Trump stuff. Trump's ego threatens tax reform. It's just really interesting. Now, GE continues to struggle. GE's having a real hard time. It actually is starting to form a death cross. So if anybody out there is looking for ideas um, for stocks to play, maybe there's a short in GE because it did start flashing a death cross today. So even us, we'll take a look at it in the morning, probably right before the market opens. House Republicans, blah blah blah. This is just the normal stuff. This is kind of an interesting article here. $11.5 million, about 11.5 million jobs coming in the next decade. Where is the jobs going to be? Solar panel installer. Somebody's young looking for a career. That might be it. Oh, and there, look, we've got an article on the death cross on GE. I didn't see that earlier. And then, oh my God, somebody did a pro-Trump article on CNBC. God bless them. Uh, so that little spat is just kind of, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I don't know. It doesn't add up to anything. So let's go take a look at some of the other things going on in the market. You can see gold. This is a live quote. It's up about 1278 right now. But let's go take a look at Bitcoin because Bitcoin is in an interesting predicament right now. Supposedly there's another fork coming up on Bitcoin, and we all know what happened the last time there was a fork. I think it had a dip and then it ran, or it might have just ran, but it went up a lot higher. This might be a good buying opportunity. You can see in the last, I think it was last weekend, it was as high as 6,000, and it's come back down to about 5,600. Which that $300 looks like a frightening move down. But really, for Bitcoin, it's not much, right? We've seen Bitcoin do a lot worse and just run right back. The technical signals. This is investing.com, and they just do some technical signals. You can see it looks like in the short term, it's starting to roll into a sell, but in the long term, it's still a buy. So, I mean, if you're not looking to trade the stock on a day-to-day basis, it's probably still a good buy right here. Um, then it tells you some of the kind of uh, patterns that it's flashing. This is real useful if you're a new trader or you're an old trader looking for new places to have fun. If you're an older trader, I'm sure you know investing.com. But if you're a new trader, go to investing.com. They got a lot of great stuff there. You can even up to the minute. Like sometimes when we're bored, you can play around and this will go live. This will give you buy signals and sell signals for a minute. You can go out 30 minutes and you can go out to daily and stuff like that. It's just kind of fun. You can do that on all the indices. You can do that on all the forex and stuff like that. And again, too, we're starting to get into forex at Financial Reboot. We've traded forex in the past. Uh, all the traders in the company and personal accounts and things like that. But we're looking at something for the company. And so we'll be talking more and more about currencies as we go down the line. The indices, what can you say, man? The Dow 30, strong buy. Everything right down the board, strong buy. So, I mean, unless something really, really bad happens, I don't see anything really slowing this market down. So, that's pretty much where we're at on the markets and Bitcoin. So, Bitcoin is really an interesting situation right now. And we can let's take a look at crude oil on the signals. You can see they don't do buy and sell. Oh, they do. Okay, here you go. So you can see oils across the board, long and short term, strong buy. So it's interesting. Now, here's an interesting thing too. When the dollar does well, gold does poorly. When the dollar does poorly, gold does well. So the three that you watch are the euro versus the U.S. dollar, the British pound versus the dollar, and the dollar versus the yen. And if you're in gold, what you'd like to see is green, green, red, and then you generally see a nice rally in the dollar. In the not in the dollar, in gold. But we'll see. We'll see how everything supports up because there's that big stuff coming on in Venezuela and all that. That's presenting a very, very interesting situation. You can see the dollar index, which is a basket of currencies averaged out for to give an average rating of the dollar is at about $93 and 81 cents, 93.81. So and you can see that big run it's had, right? I mean, you look at that's a nice run, nice run, nice run. Then it had a big pullback, and then it ran again. So it was an interesting day with the currencies too now. So um, let's go see what news there is we can talk about a little bit. So you see the Dow notches 160 points, bullish corporate earnings. Of course, we just had a couple misses. These are not big misses. These are not big enough companies to really just kill the market. Chipotle, AT&T is kind of a widely held stock, but not like it used to be. it's probably GE is probably going to lead some of these people out of blue chips. And the reason they're called blue chips is because everybody owns them. They're grandma stocks. You buy them and you hold them forever. Every time you get an extra dollar, you buy some more, and then you just live off the dividends, right? And so when that dividend gets hurt or it gets threatened, people bail on the stock. And that's what's happening with GE. And that's probably why you're seeing the death cross. So, some ideas for tomorrow. Um, Possibly GE short. Uh, you might want to take a look at that, or maybe take a look at it tonight. You could, if you're going to short the stock, you can buy it after hours. Um, if you like gold, gold's right at that 1270 78 point. Gold, if you're not in gold, and you want to get in gold, this is probably a good level to get in gold. So that's a couple ideas right there. Um, let's see. I was gonna show you something on Twitchy, but let's go to earnings. Let's go look at earnings for tomorrow, the 25th. So let's see what we got tomorrow. AGNC is a stock that we like. We hold it in most of the portfolios. It's a monthly dividend player, and it does really, really well. And it's got a nice dividend on it. For those of you that are looking for a little stability in the portfolio, maybe you like to own some shares that pay you monthly money. That's AGNC is one of our favorites. So we'll see how those earnings go tomorrow. But we hold quite a few of those shares. Let's scroll down here and see what else is coming out tomorrow. Anything big? Coca-Cola before the open. Coca-Cola had a rough day today. I believe it was pushing down to that. Yeah, pushed down to that $46 level. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe somebody saw something in that. Yesterday it was pushing up towards the $47 level. Today it went the opposite direction. So that's interesting. That's interesting. Maybe somebody knows something we don't. You never know. Dr. Pepper Snapple tomorrow. That's another food service. There was also an article today. I saw somebody wrote an article on one of the broker boards, and um, they were talking about consumer staples. Consumer staples are so beat down, right? Your Dr. Pepper and things like that. If you Google consumer staples, it'll give you the whole sector lineup. But it might be a time to buy these because it's consumer spending is what dictates how well consumer staples do. And if there's going to be a tax cut and people are going to have more money and things get a little bit looser in their wallets, these might be the stocks that make the next big move. Remember the banks from last winter? Maybe consumer staples are the next one. So if you're looking for ideas again, here's some more ideas. We're just full of them. GlaxoSmithKline, I don't know about that one. It's a pharma. Huntington Bank. Huntington Bank just got over $14 for the first time in a long time. HBAN. That's the one. Sorry. You can see it held over $14. That a decent day. The volume was okay. About 9, 10 million shares. Pretty stable, right? But it had a big move. Let's take a look at a little deeper of a chart. Let's go with the 3-month chart. You see, it had a nice move. It had a pullback there in the middle of September last month, and then it just rocketed off that. We actually own Huntington Bank shares uh, in many of the portfolios because we bought this way back before the banks made the big move. Huntington Bank shares and Bank of America are two favorite banks. They have good dividends. Huntington Bank share we like for the regional. Bank of America BAC we like for the big bank, major bank. And you can see, so we'll see tomorrow. What's the earnings look like? Uh, their history is good, I think. Yeah, see, they've got a good history of earnings growth, so there might be something in there. We'll see. Let's see what else we've got going on here. We have Huntington Bank shares. Lear Corporation, that might be a big one. That's your airplanes and stuff. Marine Products is another big one. Morningstar, which is your big research site. Netgear is in the tomorrow. Anything explosive here? O'Reilly Auto Parts. That's another one that's kind of a popular stock to trade. Let's see here. Sirius, which is your satellite radio. Um, let's see if there's any really big boys in here. Let's see. Tupperware's in there for all the housewives, house husbands. We have to be fair, okay? House person. And Xilinx. Xilinx is your semiconductor stock. That might be interesting. Let's take a look at Xilinx. This will probably be relative to um, all your Micron, MU, Qualcomm, QCOM. We'll see. This is a $71 stock though, so let's see. We'll see. And again, you're looking for ideas to play. We got a little earnings tomorrow. Maybe there's a day trade in there or something. Everything looks good. We'll see. So tomorrow is not as dramatic of an open yeah, as an open when you have Caterpillar and stuff. But we haven't gotten to the days where we get the Google earnings and things like that. Some of the more big monsters of the internet and of stock trading. So we'll see. Maybe it'll be a nice calm day tomorrow because we don't have those big earnings, so we can get a little rest. Now, um, I don't have any questions again today, so can you guys send some questions in? Anyways, or you can post them on the YouTube site in the comments right below the video. Whatever's easiest for you. But so let's talk, man. So one of the websites that we like to mess around on is Twitchy.com. Twitchy.com is started by Michelle Malkin, who's a conservative writer and probably one of the best writers you'll ever read. Whether you lean that way or not, it's just incredibly good writing. You should be checking it out. In today's world with the media, it's so hard to find legitimate checks and balances for your research. You know what I mean? We all know this is true. That everybody can say anything they want, but the people that are real about this know this is true. All your media outlets lean either heavy left or heavy right. There's no real checks and balances within their own organizations. They try to check and balance each other, but there's no check and balances within their old ones. We know NBC is heavy liberal. We know CNN is heavy liberal. We know Fox is heavy conservative. We know Drudge is conservative. Things like that. Michelle Malkin, now she is a conservative writer, but she's very, very fair. And like I was saying, it's hard to find something to balance. And that's what we like to do. We like to read the same article on two different websites or the same news on two different websites. And unfortunately, that's hard to find because usually if it's good conservative, you're not going to see it on the CNN one. If it's good liberal, you're not going to see it on the Fox one. And so on, right down the line. So, one of the things we enjoy is Twitchy because we like to read Twitter, but we don't like to do Twitter. Twitter is a cesspool that rivals Hollywood. So we really don't participate on Twitter. We have a Twitter handle. Please don't flame it because of what I said. Anyways, we like to read Twitter. We don't like to tweet, but we like to read Twitter. So, Twitchy, that's what Twitchy is. It's a website, twitchy.com, and it's what they do is they'll take these tweets and the threads and they'll put it all together for you on the website. If you guys get a chance, just go check it out and check it out with an open mind, okay? That's what we do with everything. Check it out with an open mind. Don't go in there with preconceived biases. Come in there with an open mind, and you're just looking for fun entertainment. So we saw something on Twitchy this morning that it's kind of funny. So Bill De Blasio, everybody knows, right? Mayor of New York City. So obviously he came out, and now a big thing in New York. Anybody that's been to New York City knows this. That the biggest, absolute biggest business, even rivaling crack sales. corner crack sales, is food delivery. And when you're in New York City, you'll see all these motorized boy bikes just buzzing around. And that's just the competition of the businesses, right? The competition is, can I get you the food there the fastest, right? And I mean, that's all. As long as you've got decent food, then it just comes down to, in the consumer's mind, is who's going to get it here the fastest? Because I'm hungry right now. I'm 5 blocks away from it. You know what I mean? If I order from so and so's restaurant, it's going to take freaking an hour and a half. If I order from these guys, it takes them about 20 minutes. And so you see all these motorized bikes buzzing around. And it's kind of a neat scene because it's not people riding these bikes. It's delivery guys. And they usually wear little yellow jackets and stuff like that. But so I guess Bill de Blasio, in all his infinite wisdom, uh, has decided to ban these. He's going to start arresting it. So you had a lot of stuff come out on here now. I try not to use profanity on the show, but this is public domain. It's such a dick move. Uh, you know, it's funny, but there was a comment here. This is the best comment I saw. This is Chris O'Connell, Christopher O'Connor. But how's that sexual assault clearance rate, Mayor? Look, a rogue delivery man sent all available officers. That's the state of New York right now. So, I just thought it was interesting because if you go deeper into the article, the New York NYPD has confiscated 900 e-bikes this year. And the justification is e-bikes are just too dangerous. That's what the mayor said. But they went through the statistics, and there has never been an injury or a death because of an electronic bike. So it was an interesting thing. I think it was a little fun. But this is the Twitchy site. Like I said, it leans a little conservative. So if you're a liberal, you know what I mean, take it with a grain of salt. But it's fun. It's fun. It's really fun to look what people are tweeting and how people are reacting to it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I thought I'd share that with you since I didn't have any user questions. If you have a question, please post it on the YouTube or post it in the send it to financialreboot@gmail.com and we'll get the question on the air the next show. So, like I said, overnight, little bit more relaxed of an overnight tonight because we don't have those big opening earnings tomorrow, so there's not a lot to worry about. We'll see how futures go overnight. Let's close with this. So the World Series starts today. I'm a big Dodger fan. Not sure how the rest of the crew is leaning, but I usually don't watch baseball except in the playoffs because I mean, come on, 162 games, Jesus Christ, at 4.5 hours a game, not going to happen. Um, but the World Series, this is the first time in 19 years we've got two teams with 100 wins. The Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Another fun connection with this is they both used to be in the National League. The Astros used to be in the National League Central. The Dodgers, of course, are in the National League West. The Dodgers are still in the National League West. So got a little bit of history going back then. Of course, Houston Astros, Nolan Ryan at one time. They had some really great players, and the Dodgers are just legendary, right? So it should be a really good World Series. We've got two of the best pitchers in baseball tonight. We also have record heat in Los Angeles. I was just watching on the TV before we recorded this. I was watching the Trump press conference with Sarah Sanders Huckabee, and they just announced that it's going to be about 98 degrees on that day. So it's actually might be the hottest day for a World Series game in history. So there's a lot of history, right? First time in what, almost 20 years, we got 200 win teams. We've got one pitcher that's absolutely legendary, Clayton Kershaw. But really, his one claim to get into the Hall of Fame is that he hasn't been very good in the playoffs. He is now in the World Series, and he has a chance to redeem himself. So there's a lot of great backstories. Yasu Puig from the Los Angeles Dodgers started out his rookie year, had a fantastic year. After that, he just went into the crapper. They moved him to the minor leagues. He is now a hitting hero for the Dodgers. You talk about uh, persevering and working hard to change your fortunes. That is a story worth reading. Yasu Puig. And then, the Astros are just loaded this year, loaded with hitters and just a lot of talent. It should be a fun World Series. You guys enjoy. Step back from the market for 2 or 3 hours. Well, baseball, maybe 3 or 4 hours, God knows. Um, but step back from the market and enjoy life a little bit. We always talk about this in our office. If you like the yoga, do some yoga. If but just don't let the market become everything in your life, because yes, money is important. We need money to survive. We need money to eat. We need money to keep roofs over our head, children in classes, and things like that. But you don't want to miss life on it. Yeah. So, all you sports fans out there, have a great time watching the World Series tonight. I'm sure we'll talk about it tomorrow in their show. But, besides that, look, if you're a wife or you're any kind of a spouse, if you're, you know what I mean, and your other half is watching the game and you're not interested, go enjoy your life yourself. Don't bitch, don't complain, don't fight about it. Just go enjoy life yourself. There's so many wonderful things to do. We live in Honolulu, Hawaii. It's just an amazing place to live. I'm sure wherever you live is just as amazing, you know what I mean? And so please take the time to suck it in a little bit and get a little of that sunshine. All right? We will talk to you tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget, please, if you can, uh, post a question in the YouTube. No question's too stupid. You know what I mean? Maybe I missed something. Maybe I said something you didn't like. Who knows? Uh, it happens. It's the internet. It happens. So we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thank you again for joining us. Aloha.